scraps, and welcome to another Scrappy Wednesday where we wander through the week looking for scraps to make the gems. Today I'd like to share with you my version of how to make a stained glass window. This came to mind when my husband was telling me about a recent trip he took where he was able to walk through Paris, yes, he's in Paris without me, to the Cathedral of Notre Dame. The rose window at the back is historically one of the most beautiful stained glass windows in the world. When he was telling me about this, I couldn't help but think about the beautiful lacy cuts that are on the French Manor card. So I've begun with one of those. I've already selected one of the round lacy cuts, and I'm now going to take it to my mat. Setting up this design is really fairly fast and straightforward. With this cut selected, on my basic menu, I'm going to size it. I would like this cut to be about 3.5 inches. So, with the yellow chain white, I will tap in the width box, and on my number pad, I will type in 3.5 and select OK. In my height box, I will tap, and I will also select the number pad and type 3.5. OK. Now, the dimensions of this cut should be fairly exact. What I'm going to do now is duplicate it. I need a black back and a solid. I'll need two solid backs. Click Advanced, Duplicate, pull to the side. I'm only going to duplicate one time, however, at this point because I'm going to adjust the contours. So I select Hide Contours, and as you can see, the red section of my design can be hidden. I'm going to click Hide, Next, Hide, go around, and I've completely cleaned out the inner aspect of this cut. So I have a blank circle. Click OK and take it back to my mat. Now I'm going to need a second that will cut very much like this, so I'll duplicate and pull it over here. Eventually, these two cuts on this side of my mat will be done in black. This is going to create the inner aspect of my stained glass window, so it's going to be cut from a piece of paper that I'm going to show you how to create in just a few moments. And now it's time to make the stained glass portion. We're going to be using some things that you find in aisles other than the scrapbooking aisles of your stores, in particular places like Walmart or maybe even Target. I'm going to first be using parchment paper put out by Reynolds. It is what you would line your cookie sheets with to keep things from sticking, and I'm going to use it to protect my ironing board cover. Next, I'm going to use plain old Reynolds Wrap aluminum foil. That's going to create a sole plate on my iron to protect the base of my iron. And finally, I'm going to be using regular Crayola crayons. I love it. Reminds me of when I was in elementary school. And for this stained glass window, I've chosen 3 colors: a pink, a yellow, and a blue. Iron heating at a cotton level with no steam. And now I'm going to apply the crayons on the sole plate of my iron, making sure it's hot enough, because if it's not hot enough, the wax won't melt. And I'm just going to hit and miss it. This is the fun part. Yellow and blue. Okay. Get some color in here, and it's going to change just a little bit. Probably need to unwrap that. And now my pink. This is a great project for all of those leftover crayons that your kids may have laying around the house. The fractured ones that nobody seems to want to use anymore. And you don't have to be real pristine about how you apply it to the sole plate of your iron. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my 6-inch square of white card down, and I'm going to put my iron on the card, and I'm going to swirl it. Getting as much of the paper. You can tell why I don't want my ironing board, or why I do want my ironing board covered. And as need be, I go back and reapply my crayons. And it doesn't have to be the same because stained glass isn't the same. I just keep applying color and swirling until I get the biggest percentage of my paper covered. A little bit more. This time I'm going to go more pink, more purple. It says lavender on the side, but I don't know. And I can just keep on and finish up. Can you imagine the mess this would make? I may have one more go at it. And that one corner that seems to have a lot of white. You don't have to have every corner of your paper colored. Okay, I like that. That'll work well for the project that we're doing today. I'm ready to take my stained glass window to the Cricut now. I'm going to be using my Imagine this afternoon, but you can use the Expression or any, even I think the Baby Bug, because it's under 6 inches in width. I found this awesome paper at Michael's. It's metallics type, and I thought, you know, for the leaded glass on the window, that would be just perfect. I'm setting it up the way it is in my Gypsy. And if you haven't tried this trick when you're setting up on your Imagine mat, I have, and I know there's been some issues with this sticky. I have found that by using this to kind of squeegee my paper to my mat, I don't really have a lot of problem. I say that, and now I've got this, which I'm going to put right here. And this particular piece of paper is a little on the waxy side, and that's from the crayons melting through. So I will squeegee it, get it stuck down here. This is a trick I learned while I was waiting for my replacement mats to come. If you use invisible tape, you can still actually tape down your papers, and the electric eye in the Imagine will still read it, so you don't have a lot of problem with your paper slipping off the mat. So I'll just tape this down, taking care if I'm printing on it that you don't put quite as much tape onto the paper as if you're not printing. And these are just cuts today. They're not going to be printed. One more piece of tape. But because it's non-glare, it can actually be seen through the electric eye. But before we go on, I want to show you some different colorings. This particular coloring was done with a lot more yellow added to the sole plate of the iron. You can see the highlights that it gives us. And again, you don't have to make sure every single part is colored. Sometimes that little bit of white peeking through looks really good. Here's a darker blue one that I did as well. It's kind of like the world from afar. But you can see it has blues, it has purples, it has some really intense hues coming through it. But now for our stained glass window that we're making. What we're going to do is we're going to take the leaded part and we're going to fix it to the top of our colors. As you've probably noticed, like I have, that even though it appears totally round, it's not. You can see over here. I just kind of rotate my background pieces until they seem to fit, and I can always trim them out later with the scissors. If this were going on a card, I wouldn't necessarily use this particular cut. However, if it was going anyplace else, I might. It can be your backing for your stained glass window, giving it more support. In particular, if you want to pop it. So, same difference, rotate it around, add your glue, and you have a very, very pretty finished product.